Good morning. The session will commence in 10 minutes. Good morning. The session will commence in 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could please ask you to take your seats so that we can allow others into the room. We'd really appreciate it if you could please take your seats. Thank you.
AI safely. This is extremely important.
There is a greater danger if we allow it to become self-deciding.
It will free people to work at a higher and more creative level.
The worst case scenario is that they are smarter than us.
Good morning, everybody. It is my privilege to welcome all of you to the first ever Global Summit on Frontier AI Safety. During a time of global conflict 8 decades ago, these grounds here in Bletchley Park were the backdrop of a gathering of the United Kingdom's best scientific minds, who mobilised technological advances in service of their country and their values. Today, we've invited you here to address a socio-technical challenge that transcends national boundaries and which compels us to work together in service of shared security and also shared prosperity. Our task is as simple as it is profound: to develop artificial intelligence as a force for good. The release of ChatGPT not even a year ago was a Sputnik moment in humanity's history. We were surprised by this progress, and we now see accelerating investment into an adoption of AI systems at the frontier, making them increasingly powerful and consequential to our lives. These systems could free people everywhere from tedious work and amplify our creative abilities. They could help our scientists unlock bold new discoveries, opening the door to a world potentially without diseases like cancer and with access to near limitless clean energy. But they could also further concentrate unaccountable power into the hands of a few, or be maliciously used to undermine societal trust, erode public safety, or threaten international security. However, there is a significant debate that is very robust, and I'm sure it's going to be very robust with the attendees over the next 2 days, just about whether these risks will materialise, how they will materialise, and potentially when they will materialise. Regardless, I believe that we in this room have a responsibility to ensure that they never do. Together, we have the resources and the mandate to uphold humanity's safety and security by creating the right guardrails and governance for the safe development and deployment of frontier AI systems. But this can't be left to chance or neglect or to private actors alone. And if we get this right, the coming years could be what the computing pioneer J.C.R. Licklider foresaw as intellectually the most creative and exciting in the history of humankind. This is what we are here to discuss honestly and candidly together at this summit. Sputnik set off a global era of advances in science and engineering that spawned new technologies, institutions, and visions, and led humanity to the moon. We, the architects of this AI era, policymakers, civil society, scientists, and innovators, must be proactive, not reactive, in steering the technology towards the collective good. We must always remember that AI is not some natural phenomenon that's happening to us, but it is a product of human creation that we have the power to shape and direct. And today, we will help define the trajectory of this technology to ensure public safety and that humanity flourishes in the years to come. We will work through 4 themes of risk in our morning sessions, which will include demonstrations by researchers from the UK's Frontier AI Task Force, risk to global safety and security, risk from unpredictable advances, from loss of control, and from the integration of this technology within our societies. Now, some of these risks do already manifest as harms to people today and are exacerbated by advances of the frontier. The existence of other risks is more contentious and polarising, But in the words of mathematician I.J. Good, a codebreaker colleague of Turing himself here at Bletchley Park, it is sometimes worthwhile to take science fiction seriously. Today is an opportunity to move the discussion forward from the speculative and the philosophical further towards the scientific and the empirical. Delegations and leaders from countries in attendance have already done so much work in advance of arriving, across a diverse geopolitical and geographical spectrum, to agree the world's first ever international statement on frontier AI, the Bletchley Declaration on AI Safety. Published this morning, the Declaration is a landmark achievement and lays the foundations for today's discussions. It commits us to deepening our understanding of the emerging risks of frontier AI. It affirms the need to address these risks as the only way to safely unlock these extraordinary opportunities. And it emphasises the critical importance of nation-states, developers, and civil society in working together on our shared mission to deliver AI safety. But we must not remain comfortable with this overturned window. We each have a role to play in pushing the boundaries of what is actually possible. And that is what this afternoon will be all about, to discuss what actions different communities need to take next, and to bring our diverse views and open up fresh ideas and challenge them. For developers to discuss emerging risk management processes for AI safety, such as responsible, risk-informed capability scaling. For national and international policymakers to discuss pathways to regulation that preserve innovation and protect global stability. For scientists and researchers to discuss the socio-technical nature of society and approaches to better evaluate the risks. These discussions will set the tone of the Chair's summary, which will be published tomorrow. They will guide our collective actions in the coming year. And this will lead up to the next summit that I am delighted to share with you today, will be hosted by the Republic of Korea in 6 months' time, and then by France in 1 year's time. These outputs and this forward process must be held to a high standard, commensurate with the scale of the challenge at hand. And we have successfully addressed societal scale risks in the past. In fact, within just 2 years of the discovery of the hole in the Antarctic ozone layer, governments were able to work together to ratify the Montreal Protocol, and then change the behaviour of private actors to effectively tackle an existential problem. And we all now look back upon that with admiration and respect. But for the challenges posed by frontier AI, how will future generations judge our actions here today? Will we have done enough to protect them? Will we have done enough to develop our understanding to mitigate the risks? Will we have done enough to ensure their access to the huge upsides of this technology? This is no time to bury our heads in the sand. And I believe that we don't just have a responsibility, we also have a duty to act, and act now. So your presence here today shows that these are challenges we are all ready to meet head on. The fruits of this summit must be clear-eyed, understanding routes to collaboration and bold actions to realise AI's benefits whilst mitigating their risks. So I'll end my remarks by taking us back to the beginning. 73 years ago, Alan Turing dared to ask if computers could one day think. From his vantage point at the dawn of the field, he observed that we can only see a short distance ahead, but we can see plenty there that needs to be done. Today, we can indeed see a little bit further, and there is a great deal that needs to be done. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to work. Thank you. I'm now going to introduce our speakers for this session. First up, we have the US Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo. It is wonderful that the US is the home to so many of the world's leading AI companies, and that they have been so supportive of this summit. Gina and I are closely aligned in promoting innovation, whilst thinking seriously about how we do manage those risks. And the US has shown leadership on AI safety, from July's White House voluntary commitments through to this week's executive order. Our second speaker is Vice Minister Wu Zhaohui of the People's Republic of China. And I'm especially pleased that the Vice Minister can be with us today, given China's strong frontier AI capabilities, as well as its international efforts, such as the announcement just a week ago of its Global AI Governance Initiative. Our third speaker is Vice President of the European Commission, Vera Jourova. She has been driving forward the AI safety agenda in Europe and the world, most notably through her engagement with the EU AI Act. I also want to publicly recognise the Commissioner for her addressing of societal risks such as disinformation that could be exacerbated by the malicious use of frontier AI. Our fourth speaker is the chair of the UK's AI Frontier Task Force, Ian Hogarth. Ian is an entrepreneur and has been an investor for many years in dozens of tech and AI companies. His expert leadership and extensive experience of growing companies in the technological frontier, as well as his long-standing belief in the transformational power of safe AI, made him not only the perfect, but also the natural choice to lead our Frontier AI Task Force. This is the startup within government from which we will grow our new AI Safety Institute. And I have personally really enjoyed working hand in hand with Ian over the last few months. Thank you. Gina?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, and thank you to Prime Minister Sunak for hosting such an incredibly important event. Hats off to you. The crowd, it's an amazing crowd of people, and you did a fantastic job with your opening remarks. So I want to thank you for your leadership, and to my colleagues who've traveled from all over the world to be here. I think the fact that we are all here in person and have come from all corners of the world gives me hope that we are all deeply committed to making sure that we move forward with AI innovation, but also do it in a safe way. As Secretary Damlin so beautifully said, Bletchley Park is a symbol of technology's potential to empower the heroic side of humanity. But it's also a reminder to all of us about how technology can indeed change the course of history. I will say, as many of you know, it is also a reminder that women who, as I understand, represented at one point 3/4 of Bletchley Park code breakers were a vital yet underappreciated asset in advancing science and harnessing its benefits. And I challenge all of us as we move forward with AI to have as many women and a diverse group of people in the development and deployment of AI. Today, of course, we're here to address the unique dangers of the most advanced AI due to both misuse, but also, quite frankly, the risks that these systems might not operate the way they were intended to operate. The Biden administration's approach is to manage the risk so that we can harness the benefit. The president is challenging us in the United States and all of us here to make sure that we move forward as fast as we can with innovation, but to have a balanced approach and a critical eye on the risks, which is why we're all gathered today. I will say, I'm biased because he's my boss, but President Biden is showing unbelievable leadership in this regard. First, as Michelle said, by securing voluntary commitments by U.S. AI companies who have committed to safe, secure, and trustworthy AI development, including red teaming of the AI models, mitigating harmful capabilities, and protecting the AI models from unauthorized release. That was step one, which we undertook early in the summer. Now, on top of that, as you may have seen on Monday of this week, President Biden signed an executive order, which if you haven't reviewed it, I would encourage you to review it. It is a comprehensive executive order building on the voluntary commitments that were made by America's leading AI companies. And as part of the executive order, the Commerce Department has been directed by the President to ask frontier AI developers to disclose to us red teaming, safety, and cybersecurity measures that they will be taking for next-generation frontier models. We think that this combination of the voluntary commitments coupled with the reporting requirements is an important step towards the safe development of frontier AI and accountability. But of course, all of that is built upon a foundation of standards. Built upon a foundation of standards and testing capability. And I absolutely welcome and applaud the UK's launch of its AI Safety Institute. And this morning, I'm very pleased to announce that the United States will be launching its own AI Safety Institute. That will be run by the Department of Commerce and housed in NIST within the Department of Commerce. Many of you are familiar with NIST, world-leading work, a neutral third party to develop best-in-class standards. And NIST will be developing the standards for safety, security, and testing. And we will be providing testing environments to evaluate known risks and emerging risks of AI at the frontier. I'm also pleased to announce that the Institute is launching a consortia to work with partners in academia, industry, and nonprofits to advance its frontier AI safety mission. I will almost certainly be calling on many of you in the audience who are in academia and industry to be part of this consortia. We can't do it alone. The private sector must step up. We also have to commit to establishing a formal partnership between our Safety Institute and the United Kingdom Safety Institute. I want to say that loudly and clearly, and Michelle and I talked about this already. We have to get to work, and as between the US and the UK in our safety institutes, we have to get to work together. Finally, I'll say the work, of course, does not begin and end with just the US and the UK. We want to expand information sharing, research collaboration, and ultimately policy alignment across the globe. And again, I want to thank all of my colleagues for being here. We will compete as nations. Competition is a good thing. It brings out the best in us and allows us to innovate. But even as we compete vigorously, we must search for global solutions to global problems. In the nuclear age, superpowers came together to cooperate and formulate global mechanisms of assurance. Today, in the age of AI, we have an even more complex problem that involves all of our nations and the private sector. It requires global coordination on AI safety. And it requires us to do everything we can to make sure that this technology does not get into the wrong hands and is not misused. So I think I'll end with quoting Michelle. Will we have done enough? I want to be able to say yes. I know for myself, as a leader, and as a leader of the U.S. AI Safety Institute, I want to be able to say, yes, I've done enough to unleash innovation, but more important, make sure it is safe. And I hope that we can all say that at the end of our work together. Thank you.
尊敬的米歇尔、谭郎大臣阁下，尊敬的各国部长，尊敬的各位嘉宾、女士们、先生们、朋友们，大家上午好。很高兴受约出席人工智能安全峰会。英国政府组织召开这次峰会，为各国对话人工智能安全和国际治理的议题提供了平台，同时也为各方提供了交流和合作的机会。在此，我谨代表中国科技部对英国政府为此付出的努力表示衷心的感谢。 当前大家知道，以语言大模型、类脑智能、具身智能、分布式群体智能为代表的前沿人工智能这一技术快速迭代发展，实现了历史性的跨越，并且有望涌现出更多的重大的技术变革。其广泛的应用将产生巨大的技术红利，给世界带来了巨大的机会。与此同时，人工智能技术在不确定性、不透明性以及不可解释性方面的特征，带来了伦理、安全、隐私、公平等方面的风险与挑战更加突出，复杂的效应不断的显现。中国政府高度重视人工智能的发展，将人工智能作为提升生产力水平和增进人民福祉的重要的赋能手段，发布了新一代人工智能发展规划，推动技术研发，建设开放平台，拓展应用场景，着力构建协同开放的创新体系。同时，我们也充分地认识到了人工智能技术的两面性，发布治理原则和伦理的规范，始终以高度负责任的态度来参加人工智能全球治理体系的建设和改革之中。2023年10月18号，中国国家主席习近平先生在第3届“一带一路”国际合作高峰论坛开幕式的主体演讲中，提出了全球人工智能治理的倡议。倡议围绕着人工智能发展、安全和治理3个方面，全面系统地阐述了人工智能治理的中国方案。这是中方积极践行人类命运共同体，落实全球发展倡议、全球安全倡议、全球文明倡议的一个具体的行动。在当今世界和平与发展面临着多元的挑战的背景之下，我们认为通过对话和合作凝聚共识，构建起开放、公正、有效的治理机制。一是积极的倡导以人为本、智能向上，以增进人类共同福祉为目标，以保障社会安全、尊重人类权益为前提，确保朝着有利于人类文明进步的方向发展，遵守实用的国际法，符合和平发展、公平正义、民主自由的全人类的共同价值，共同来防范和打击对人工智能技术的滥用和恶用。二是加强技术风险管控，支持以人工智能技术来防范人工智能的风险，提高人工智能治理的技术能力，推动建立人工智能风险等级测试的评估体系，确保人工智能始终处于人类可控制之下，打造起可审核、可监督、可追溯、可信赖的人工智能技术。三是鼓励各方协同共治，坚持相互尊重、平等互利的原则。各国无论大小强弱，都有平等发展和利用人工智能的权利。要增强发展中国家在人工智能全球治理中的代表性和发言权，不断地弥合智能的鸿沟和治理能力的差距，鼓励全球共享人工智能成果、知识成果，共开源人工智能的技术。各位部长、各位嘉宾、女士们、先生们，人工智能治理事关全人类的命运，是世界各国面临的共同的课题。只有国际社会共同努力，才能确保人工智能技术安全可靠。中方愿同各方一道，就人工智能安全治理加强沟通交流，为推动形成普遍参与的国际治理机制 和具有广泛共识的治理框架，积极的贡献智慧和力量，促进人工智能技术更好地造福于人类，共同构建起人类命运共同体。我就讲这么多，谢谢大家。
Madam Secretary of State, dear Michelle, dear colleagues, of course, I cannot start otherwise than to thank the United Kingdom for organizing of this summit and for inviting us. I speak on behalf of the European Union. I am sure my boss, Madam von der Leyen, tomorrow will convey her thanks to Prime Minister Sunak as well, because this is really a great idea, and also to organize this on this very place is very symbolic. Since the EU published the first comprehensive strategy on AI in 2018, you will agree with me that the technology has no doubt leaped forward immensely from what was a rather niche topic then to a revolution that is literally at everyone's fingertips. But what has not changed is the fundamental tenet of our approach, the need to strike the right balance between reaping the immense benefits of AI whilst protecting what is most dear to us. So let me touch upon three areas: innovation, guardrails, and governance. First, regarding innovation. Given the remarkable growth in this technology, we need to ensure that the development of AI remains accessible to a wide and diverse field of actors, not just the few in the lead. One barrier of entry has been the vast amount of computing capacity now needed to be at the frontier. This is why the EU has decided to open up our high-performance computers, some of the most capable on the planet, to AI startups to train their models free of charge. And of course, I would like also to speak about huge investments being done using the EU budget, but also member states' budgets, but we don't have time for that. Second, guardrails on AI. I have seen much debate about whether we should be focusing on the harms of AI that are known today or on more existential risks the technology can pose in the future. I find this a false debate. Both are necessary and both are possible. If we want to build trust in technology, we need to urgently address the risks we face now: the risk of discrimination, the risk to health and safety, the risk to our democracies and elections. Every bit of transparency, accountability, risk management, and public oversight that we introduce now will also help us deal with more uncertain risks going forward. This is why we are setting out to do in the EU through the AI Act, an innovation-friendly, risk-based and future-proof approach to regulating AI. We expect agreement on this law before the end of the year. And on this law, we see how fast the development goes, because we adopted it at the Commission level in 2020. And now, together with the co-legislators, with the European Parliament and the Member States, we are drafting together the new chapter on generative AI, which is the new technology which we want to also cover by the regulation without hindering it and without limiting the benefits it can deliver. We have the State Secretary of Spain here who is negotiating on behalf of the Member States. It's not easy work. I will quote you, Carmen. You said that how can we regulate something we don't know what it is? And our common agreement was last time at the trialogue, yes, we don't know what it is, but once we know what it is, it might be late. So that's why we are now developing the new chapter on generative AI. Might be that on the 6th of December, at St. Nicholas Day, we might have this done. So this is the EU at its best. I believe that we need smart regulation combined with voluntary commitments. That's why also I'm glad to announce that the G7 leaders announced this Monday our agreement on guiding principles and a code of conduct for developers of advanced AI. We call on developers of AI present also here today and all others out there to endorse this code and commit to its application. We will be announcing the first list of signatories in the next weeks. This voluntary code is a useful complement to legislation, and we see it working hand in glove with the provisions for foundational models, which we are finalizing under the AI Act. To be able to manage fast-changing AI technologies effectively, we need a solid knowledge base. The first step towards a more global governance for AI is access to internationally recognized independent scientific advice on the state of the technology. I will quote you, Michelle. How did you say it? Speculative philosophical should stop for a while towards more scientific and technological, but then we have to take it back from the technologists and from the scientists to continue taking proper political decisions. I think it will be interaction. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for having a chance to speak here and to take part in this important summit. I am sure I will be coming back enriched by new information. And last thing I want to say, again, turning back what Michelle and Gina said, the history only will tell us whether we did the right thing in the right moment. We have our common obligation to do this right. Thank you very much.
I want to start by thanking the Secretary of State for embracing the enormous potential of this technology, and also the Prime Minister for leading a global conversation around AI safety. So around the corner, Alan Turing and his team used the bomb machine to crack the Enigma code. And that machine evaluated 15 positions per second, and it weighed 900 kilograms. Today, the phone in my pocket performs 2 trillion times more operations per second. This advance in computing power has helped power the modern world, and it's a driving force behind the recent breakthroughs in AI. This plot shows our best guess of the computing power used to train the most powerful AI models over the past 10 years. In that time, this computing power has increased by a factor of 10 million, often in large jumps from generation to generation of models. The last 5 jumps have come from large language models and have taken us from systems unable to form coherent sentences to those that have mastered aspects of human language. Soon, perhaps in the first half of next year, we're on track to see another jump. New models, the red cross on this chart, may use 10 times the amount of compute, trained by just a handful of companies using huge new computing clusters that are being built as I speak. This jump is what exponential growth looks like. As before, the new models will make the previous jumps look small and insignificant. They'll use AI chips up to 6 times more powerful than before, and will be some of the biggest projects undertaken in the history of technology. Now, this progress is exciting. I've long been a believer in the immense capacity for good that AI represents since I worked on an early system to detect breast cancer using computer vision almost 20 years ago. But all powerful technologies prompt questions about how we make them safe. Power and risk go hand in hand. From clinical trials for pharmaceuticals to international regulation of the nuclear industry, every emerging technology, if it is sufficiently powerful, necessitates a conversation about how we make it safe. And that's why we've come together today. These 2 days are a brief moment of reflection along this curve, a moment to pause and shape its trajectory and its impact. The most advanced systems are being developed by a small community of experts, some of whom are in this room today. But it's not just those developers who will be held responsible for AI's consequences. It will be all of us as people empowered and entrusted to ensure that technology benefits humanity. I, like many in this room, am concerned about the trajectory we're on. Many have correctly stressed the existing harms from AI and the possibility of current or future systems undermining democracy, entrenching discrimination, or destabilizing our societies. And a number of leading experts are seriously concerned that uncontrolled advances in AI may lead to catastrophic consequences. I worry that a race to create powerful machines will outpace our ability to safeguard society. There's a wide range of beliefs in this room as to the certainty and severity of these risks. No one in this room knows for sure how or if these next jumps in computational power will translate to new model capabilities or harms. So over the course of the day, you'll hear about some of the work that our AI task force has done. We've been trying to ground these risks in empiricism and rigor. While I'm proud of our work, it's a tiny step in the face of a colossal challenge. And I'm so grateful to Secretary Raimondo for spinning up the US AI Safety Institute and for the partnership we will establish. Our current lack of understanding in the face of what may be a pretty critical moment in the history of technology is quite striking. History will remember this moment at Bletchley Park amidst this exponential. It will judge all of our ability to live up to this challenge, to find common ground amid disagreement, and to take concrete action in the face of uncertainty. It will judge us for what we do and say over the next 2 days and the days to come. So let's make the most of this time together.
Thank you, and what a fantastic range of speeches that was. We're now going to move on to our next panel. Our fifth speaker is Rajiv Chandra Shekhar, Minister of State for Electronics and Information Technology of India. He is a proven technology-minded government leader and an entrepreneur, and has driven forward the AI agenda in India. He joins us today hot off the heels of the publication of his ministry of a major AI report, India AI 2023. Our sixth speaker is the world's first ever dedicated Minister for Artificial Intelligence, His Excellency Omar Sultan Al Olomar. The United Arab Emirates was indeed present in recognising the future importance of AI across government and in the private sector. And I enjoyed speaking with him this morning at just how they saw that happening in the future and were so early to appoint him. Our seventh speaker, the Honourable Minister Bisan Tin Jaranji, is pioneering a novel approach to the creation of an AI strategy for Nigeria, and with his AI-enabled global search for contributions from experts of Nigerian descendants. As a co-founder of the leading innovation hub in Africa, the Honourable Minister is no stranger to using frontier technology safely to solve development challenges. So collectively, I cannot think of a better panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Let me start by thanking Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the government of the United Kingdom, and all members of the government of the United Kingdom for arranging this summit and for certainly for inviting us as well. We have maintained as Government of India that international collaborations such as this, international conversations between countries, are extremely important as we move forward to shaping the future of tech at a time and in an era where technology is certainly throwing up the most exciting opportunities ever in the history of mankind. Our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, has for several years argued that the future of tech, whether it be innovation, whether it be partnerships, or indeed the institutional framework for regulating the technology and innovation for the common good of all humans and all mankind, should be driven by a coalition of nations rather than just one country or two countries, and that the institutional framework should be less episodic and a lot more sustained and with strategic clarity. Let me share the Indian perspective. Certainly, some of you may know, most of you may know this. We have rapidly digitized our economy in the last 8 years. We have moved the digital economy, the needle on the digital economy, from about 4.5% of total GDP to our target of 20% by 25-26. We're at about 11% today. The digital economy and the innovation economy and the innovation ecosystem today is growing at about 2.5 to 3 times faster than the non-digital part of the GDP. So for us, all things digital, the digital economy, the innovation ecosystem represents real bread and butter, real goals and real objectives, and artificial intelligence for us, as we see it, is a kinetic enabler of the already accelerating, already expanding digital economy, innovation, growth, and governance. In a book that I just read recently by DeepMind's founder, Mustafa Suleyman, he refers to the coming decade or the coming years as the next big wave. And we certainly see artificial intelligence as that. We are very clear on that AI represents a big opportunity for us, as well as we are extremely clear in our minds about what we need to do in terms of mitigating all of the other downsides that AI and indeed any emerging technology can or will represent. Let me just share a bit with you on quickly on what we believe is the way to look at AI. We look at AI and indeed technology in general through the prism of openness, safety and trust, and accountability. I think we use words like AI for good. I certainly don't understand what that means. Is there an AI for bad that we are talking about? We certainly don't think there should be any doubt in anybody's mind that the future of tech must be and always be only for the good and the progress and prosperity of our collective citizens of all our countries. Techno-optimism notwithstanding, I think there is a new regime, new framework that needs to be built, where there is greater accountability of platforms on the issue of user harm. There's a greater accountability of platforms on ensuring safety and trust of all those who use their platforms, whether it is AI or indeed the broader general internet at large. I will just end quickly by saying this. We have learned in the last 10, 15 years as governments that by allowing innovation to get ahead of regulation, we open ourselves to the toxicity and the misinformation and the weaponization that we see on the internet today, represented by social media. And we certainly can agree today that that is not what we should chart for the coming years in terms of AI. We certainly want AI and the broader internet and tech to represent goodness, safety, and trust, and underlying all of that, underpinning all of that, platforms and innovators that demonstrate accountability under law to all those who use it. Thank you. 10 seconds.
Just on time. Thank you very much. I'd like to start, first and foremost, by thanking the UK government for their kind invitation and for convening us all here today. I think it is indeed appropriate that we're meeting on this premise, on these grounds, because the enigma of today is very different to the enigma of yesterday. The enigma of yesterday was indeed catastrophic, and indeed one that required compute to solve. The enigma of today is explained by AI. It's trustworthy AI, and it's safe AI. So thank you for choosing the right venue, and thank you for convening the right crowd. I'd like to start off by saying that all efforts that we're seeing today around the world on artificial intelligence are definitely positive indications that the world is moving in the right direction. Whether it's the United States executive order on safe, secure, and trustworthy AI, or the UK just announcing its Institute for Artificial Intelligence, as well as the efforts that the UK is doing, we are moving in a direction that we have long been waiting for and long been calling for as a collective community, whether it's the experts in the room or governments that have been working on this file for a while. We today are at a pivotal moment in the history of intelligence. The gaze of future generations may either accuse us of not having done anything or stifling innovation and dimming the prospects for humanity. We must navigate this dichotomy together and place the brilliant minds who are developing this technology at the center of the conversation. The stakes are high, and the benefits of AI on humanity are immense, but so are the risks that tag along. As governments, investing in the haven of safety is our primal step, as it should be with AI safety. Top minds in the field recommend allocating significant portion of AI resources towards ensuring safe and ethical use of this technology. And we as regulators should heed this call and do so proportionately to the AI that is being developed in our nations. Evaluating AI model capabilities is the next stride. The pulse of AI's capability beats with the rhythm of human ingenuity. However, every beat must be measured against a set of established standards that ensure that the technology we build serves humans and not the algorithm. Standards for extensive, generic red teaming, as well as specific sectorial standards for critical infrastructure must be developed and shared internationally, as the impact for AI will know no borders. For instance, these can be additionally tested across the world with countries like the UAE and others to ensure that they are truly global, and thus creating a better testbed and ensuring that AI is better for everyone everywhere. Developing AI in the UAE, for example, has always been international from day one. We've always thought of the 200 nationalities that reside in the UAE and thought about their safety and security, whether it's on our land or across borders as well. Evidence-based governance is the cornerstone of the AI journey. The UAE promotes a pragmatic, principled approach to AI governance, focusing on governing the use cases rather than the technology itself. However, the next challenge will not be merely about identifying what needs to be done by the government, but rather how quick it needs to be done. Therefore, a new form of governance that is both agile and endorsed by the private sector is necessary to effectively govern this technology. Transparency and ethics are our guiding principles. However, this dialogue needs to be inclusive of the global south and needs to ensure that AI safety leaves no one behind. We stand ready to collaborate as the UAE, we stand ready to innovate, and we stand ready to contribute towards a future where AI is a beacon for progress, is a beacon for safety, and a beacon for inclusivity. And we urge everyone to operate with that ethos. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm deeply honored to address this prestigious gathering, and of course, I'd like to appreciate our host for extending the invitation for Nigeria to be part of this special occasion. As we gather today, we must acknowledge that our world is experiencing significant transformation driven by the increased application of digital technologies. These new technologies have ensured that access to information is increasingly ubiquitous while creating an extensive and interconnected web of networks. By democratizing access to knowledge, we now have a golden opportunity to share information, experiences, and also competencies in a revolutionary manner that allows us to empower communities and nations that are traditionally unserved or underserved. In this digital age, Technological capability is not limited by geographical or socioeconomic classification. In fact, technological advancements now travel rapidly at the speed of light within networks, in turn creating platform for smart application of technologies that transcend borders, making it a powerful force for global economic development. As we enter into a new age of greater possibilities with artificial intelligence, we have now been empowered to aggregate, process, contextualize knowledge that enables us to tackle complex societal and business challenges with very unique insights and intelligence that have previously been unavailable to us. AI, at its very core, offers our generation a historical opportunity to create ubiquitous access to insights and intelligence for global development. However, we must remain conscious of the need to ensure the safe, ethical, and inclusive development of this phenomenon. We must take necessary steps to prevent the disenfranchisement of people due to unpleasant experiences and abuse and also misuse. This risk can further exacerbate existing socioeconomic inequalities that limit the significant impact that AI brings to our world. We must therefore ensure that the benefits of AI are accessible to all without discrimination or exclusion. By doing this, we will create a world that presents opportunity as a collective birthright and not as a privilege for a select few. As we do this, we will leverage the true transformative power of artificial intelligence for the common good of humanity. In conclusion, I'm not going to take all my 5 minutes, obviously. Let me reiterate the need for us to embrace the extensive opportunities AI offers to us to create a more inclusive and prosperous world. We must, however, be mindful to do this with a clear and intentional commitment to deploy in a safe and responsible manner. Working together as a global community, we will shape a future where AI becomes the tool for economic empowerment, improved quality of life, and global unity. I'd like to thank you all, and I look forward to seeing this summit become a launchpad for a brighter and rewarding future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who's spoken this morning. I think the common theme was just how this is a true historic moment. I do believe that what we are agreeing here today, building on the Bletchley Declaration, will indeed be talked about for years and generations to come. Members of the public should have confidence that as a result, what we are discussing will result in the right safeguards being put in place at the right time and in the right way, so that we can seize the almost unlimited benefits of AI. The conversations over the next couple of days are, of course, only the start of that process to build our shared understanding of the risks and to consider how we can tackle them together. Today, we are moving one step closer to setting a new course in AI safety. And I'm really grateful to my colleagues who have already set the tone of the sessions to follow, both today and tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to, with great anticipation, the roundtable discussions getting underway shortly by such an esteemed group of experts and policymakers from across the globe. So I wish you well in the conversations later, and before the break, I would like you to hear now from His Majesty the King.
We are witnessing one of the greatest technological leaps in the history of human endeavour. The rapid rise of powerful artificial intelligence is considered by many of the greatest thinkers of our age to be no less significant, no less important than the discovery of electricity, the splitting of the atom, the creation of the World Wide Web, or even the harnessing of fire. AI holds the potential to completely transform life as we know it, to help us better treat and perhaps even cure conditions like cancer, heart disease, and Alzheimer's, to hasten our journey towards net zero, and realize a new era of potentially limitless, clean, green energy, even just to help us make our everyday lives a bit easier. However, if we are to realize the untold benefits of AI, then we must work together on combating its significant risks too. AI continues to advance with ever greater speed towards models that some predict could surpass human abilities, even human understanding. There is a clear imperative to ensure that this rapidly evolving technology remains safe and secure. And because AI does not respect international boundaries, this mission demands international coordination and collaboration. To support this global effort, the United Kingdom is proud to host this summit in Bletchley Park, the birthplace of modern computing, where Alan Turing famously cracked the Enigma code and laid the foundations for a new digital age. Transitions like the one AI is heralding always present profound challenges, especially in preparing for unintended consequences. It is incumbent on those with responsibility to meet these challenges, to protect people's privacy and livelihoods, which are essential to both our economic and psychological well-being, to secure our democracies from harm, and to ensure the benefits of new technology are shared by all. I've always believed in the importance of holding a conversation, both within and across societies, to address such great challenges, of bringing governments and the public sector together with civil society and the private sector in that conversation, adhering to the values, tenets of faith, and laws that we all hold so dear. That is how the international community has sought to tackle climate change, to light a path to net zero, and safeguard the future of our planet. We must similarly address the risks presented by AI with a sense of urgency, unity, and collective strength. So, on behalf of the United Kingdom, I want to thank you all for the vital role you are playing in this shared endeavour, for laying the foundations of a lasting consensus on AI safety, and for ensuring that this immensely powerful technology is indeed a force for good in this world.